Firstly, I'd like to thank you and Mama. I want to thank you both for your own pursuit after the heart of God and this revival. In these days of revival, I've experienced things I've never experienced before, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for both of you in these times. A couple days ago, I had an encounter. And in that encounter, I saw myself in this field where I was standing by myself in this field where there was like these crazy winds blowing, and I was just there in this crazy almost storm. And then in front of me, I saw a staircase. It's also just in the middle of nowhere. So there was just this staircase in front of me. And it was almost as if the angle shifted, and I saw myself going up the stairs. And then I saw myself from a different perspective where I wasn't going up any stairs. I was just walking upwards. And then I went back and I was walking upstairs. And then the angle shifted again, and I'm just going up into almost nothing. And then I reach the stairs, and then I just disappear. And I enter into this room, this dimension. And I'm in this room where in front of me, I see a man. And he's leaning, he's on the floor, and there are others in front, and they're flat on their faces, and there's others on their knees, but there's this other man. He's leaning against the heart of God. And this room, it was just a room where it was just the heart of God, and there was these people. Some were flat on their faces like dead, and others were just on their knees. And I see this man, and I walk up to him, and I introduce myself, and I ask him, and I knew, and it was John, the beloved. And I go to him, and I ask him a question, because I wanted to take the opportunity. And I ask him, how was it that when Jesus was on the cross, you were the only one who was at his feet? And how was it that out of all of the disciples, you were the only one who put your head on his shoulders? And he answers me, a few words, but very powerful. He says to me, there are many people who will know his name and hear about him. There are some who will be able to journey with him. There will be selected ones who can walk with him. And there are few who will go after, and only a few of those people will succeed in knowing his heartbeat. And as I'm asking him this, he's leaning against the heart, and he's just on his knees, and he's just smiling, and his head is just back, and he's leaning. He's as deep as in he can be. And the heart, it was many colors. There were different sections to it, as if. And he was leaning against a section that was like a red, but it's not like a red that we have on earth. It's colors in the spirit that are not the same as here. And I was seeing it, and I was so mesmerized, because within that, it was like this bronze, almost copper, these strands that were like flowing out, and it was like an intense, almost as if like alive. And then I look behind him, and there's another man, almost hidden, but I saw him. and he's leaning against a section of the heart. Though sitting there alone, that part, it was like amber, like a burning amber, and it covered the vast majority of his heart, but he was the only one sitting there, even though it was the most of it. And he's there, and I see him. And he's there, and he's leaning against the heart deeper than all of the people there. His head is so deep that he's almost inside of the heart. And surrounding his head, the color of amber began to transform glowing. It was like a white because of how deep he was in. And this man, I knew who he was. It was Enoch. And next to this color, the amber section, there was this color almost like a sapphire deep blue. And each of the colors surrounding the heart were sort of flowing into each other. And the sapphire part was so closely knitted within this amber part. And in front of this section, I see another man sitting in front of it, next to Enoch. And this man was Dad. And lastly, next to this section, there is another color. And it was like a teal, but it wasn't teal. It was beautiful. It was so deep that it was like a blue-green. And he was, this other man sitting in front of this color, he was next to John. He was next to Dad. And he's also just leaning there like all the other men. And this man was Pastor Steve. And I'm looking around and I see that all of them are just resting in the heart. They don't care about anything else around, and they're just leaning deep as much as they can. And then when I left, I departed from there and I went back down the stairs, and I was back to the field with the heavy winds, and I stretched my hand out and the winds stopped and it just came to a rest.
Father, I pray, let her represent her generation. And as I pray for her, I pray also for her generation. And as an anointing falls upon her, let an anointing fall upon her generation. They shall be protected from every works of the enemy. They shall be the Enochs of this generation. They shall walk with God. They shall go deep into the heart of God. Take her to greater encounters from today.